And I don't feel like going down there to go get it.
You would never believe that I wore mine one time and can't find it.
Oh my
I have no
goodness.
idea where it is. So one Sunday, yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ride. We're going to go ahead and get started in a few minutes, but you can go ahead and check out this video. Welcome to the ride. Yeah, they caught us. They caught us slipping. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Cece. Elder Cece is in the building. There we
Hey,
go. What's going on? What's going on?
I'm
Okay,
good.
so Village, welcome to the party. If this is episode 9 of Conversations with Fran, I am your host, Francesca White, and we are on the brand new Just Fran channel. Whoop whoop on YouTube. We are streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube, and I am so happy to have the beautiful ladies of Let the Girls Preach with me tonight. This is our anniversary.
Hey,
Hey,
yay.
I'm so excited. Listen, they have no idea how much fun we had getting everything together, making this happen, and all of the different nuances and the meetings and the stuff that it took to put it together. But when I say looking back at it and going through some of these clips, I'm a little disappointed that I can't share all the clips the way I wanted to. T, the stuff just would not upload for me for nothing,
It's
and I
okay.
went
You
through.
gonna get it.
Man, I'm gonna get it after a
Yeah.
while, but the footage was so good, and I was ready to play Cece's clip of her talking about the blood, the nails in my hands. It's gonna mess up my business, but nails in Jesus. I'm like, come on, people, take me back. I was ready. I was so ready. I was like, boy, we got some stuff. It was some good
Bless you.
word in that place, and I am so happy that I had the opportunity to share it with you all. So, on the screen and to my well, what's that? Is that what side? No, what side is that?
There you
That's my
go.
Whatever side you on, just say
right.
it, girl.
Wait.
Right. Well, next to me, we have co-pastor Akila Saunders. Y'all see my banners? I think I'm fresh. Get off me.
Yeah,
Girl, you
Get
dope.
off
Oh,
me.
You dope.
graphic.
Get off me.
Come
Get
on,
off me.
graphic.
Come on.
Come on, co-pastor. You got
And then
a
yeah,
whole title.
and then under her, I have the one and the only Elder Chisa. Come on through.
Come on
And
through.
yes, and then I have Elder Talima Johnson, who was kind of like the spearhead of this thing and made all of this stuff come together. And she reached out to all of us to make this happen. So once again, I say thank you for allowing me to be a part of Let the Girls Preach.
Yes.
Because let me tell you something, everybody on the team is absolutely amazing. We have two more sisters that are going to be on their way in shortly, and so we'll acknowledge them. But I still want to take a moment to say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share the Just Fran channel. Y'all can do that while we're talking and getting this conversation going. So the first thing I want to do, ladies, is I want to start with T. I need you to explain how this all came about, because we can't talk about our revival without talking about the one that happened prior to it.
Exactly.
It's like everything just kind of lines up, and that's the good thing about the kingdom. When there's no competition in the kingdom, everybody gets to be a blessing and everybody
Yeah.
gets to receive something. So T, take us back down memory lane real quick.
Okay, so the men in the kingdom, the men in the
Ah,
kingdom,
oh bless his
men
name.
in the kingdom had an awesome revival. The BXM revival in Compton at Bishop Richard Sanders church. And during that revival, I was there every night, and my pastor happened to be a part of it. Overseer Theo Wilkins and Elder Cecil Thompson were a part of the revival as the speakers per night, and then they also had lecturers per night, which my dear sister, uh, Minister Fran, yes, she was one of the speakers in that
Pleasure.
revival. So during that revival, there was just a ring that went out when they said let the girls preach, and I think it was that Friday night after Fran spoke and they said it. That's when I kind of got it. Like it kind of, I kind of felt something about that. And then something also happened during the time after Fran preached. A lot of the ladies that were ministers went to Fran, and we started praying with her and praying over her, and there was just something that happened in that moment. And I remember leaving that night just talking to Fran and was like, you know what, it'd be dope if we just get let the girls preach on shirts. That was the first thing I thought. Like,
On
let's just get some
shirts, like
shirts. Right.
a
That'd be so
marketing
dope.
grip.
Hashtag let the girls preach. And out of that thinking, I was talking to my overseer and Elder Dixon, and we just started talking about how dope it would be to do a revival doing this. And I just started talking to God like, well, God, who? And God began to just download names and everything. And Overseer Theo Wilkins was like, you could do it at Three Oaks. It's no problem. Open arms. I didn't have to ask no questions. He just offered. And I thank God for my Peter. You know what I mean? if
Uh-huh.
y'all if y'all was at um Baptist Ministers Conference when Pastor Dawson preached, she talked about that. So I
Woo!
thank God for my Peter. And that's how it really came about. So as God did it, the ladies were all on board. I sent a group text. I know everybody was kind of like, what are we all doing in a group text? What's going on here? And I explained to them. A lot of them were there. It may have been a couple that weren't at the BXM conference, but a lot of people were there. A lot of the ladies were there, and they understood where I was coming from. And it was birthed out of that, and it was one of the most beautiful things. I was so teary eyed today looking at the memories that
Yeah.
happened. Like to look at them, I really didn't grasp it until today, looking at the memories. Even then, I didn't really grasp it. But today, I was so teary eyed looking at it. I was like, God, you really did this. You really did this, God. Like you really, it was literally spoken into the atmosphere. And out of that being speaking into the atmosphere, it resonated in my ears and my heart. And from that came a revival that was so beautiful and so lovely. So thank all you ladies who were a part of it. The ladies that are here right now, El, Evangelist Taylor, and Brianne Smith and Vanity Brown. And who else? Somebody is not here right now, right?
Creature.
Lucretia Wallace. How did I forget that? But yeah,
Right.
thank you. Thank all you ladies for being a part of this. It could not have been done. And I don't want it to end there. I really don't
Right.
want it to end there. The pandemic kind of slowed down a little bit of, you know, as far as in person of the things that we wanted to do. But I don't think that it stops there.
I hear you. What I want to do now is individually, ladies, I want you to share what that experience was like for you, what leading up to it, because whenever you're getting ready to do something for God, there's always going to be some backlash. Okay. There's always evil is always present, and it shows up in many different forms. And I really wanted Taylor to be here so she could share on her own what took place, because she truly gave us all a serious scare leading up to this revival. And everyone just kind of went through their own separate attacks, and but still, by the time we made it to the pulpit, it all came out in the
Right.
pulpit. I think
For
if
real.
no one else received anything, I think we kind of preached each other happy.
I think
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so. I
Bottom
definitely
That
line,
think
part.
so.
That
I'm
part.
serious. I really feel like
Right.
it was a needed breakthrough that we all needed for for individually, for our own ministries, for our own walks of life. Is what we needed to break up some fallow ground, and
Yes.
it's kind of like everybody else just kind of got a chance to witness it and be a part
Mm-hmm.
of it. But I want you to individually, and whoever wants to share first, to share what that experience was like for you. How did you even come to the conclusion of what you were going to speak? What led you to that message, to bring it to the people? And just kind of give us a little bit about it, okay? So, who wants to go first?
I went
Co-pastor,
Was
first
you want to have the
already.
floor?
was your
I
I
feel like
went
hand
I'm on
up?
first
a
already.
no. I feel like I'm on a Brady Bunch.
Like
Co-pastor,
she
you
was
want to go?
ushering you in,
I
like
thought that was her usher hand, like she was going. Go ahead,
right.
Elder. Do I have permission? Do I have permission, Elder?
Yes, my child. Come on,
Okay.
Pastor.
God bless you. First, first off, thank you, Minister, Pastor, Bishop, Sister Fran, for allowing us to be on your platform tonight. Thank you for sharing, and
Oh,
congratulations to you and all of what God is doing for you. And
thank you, sis.
I'm just cheering you on from the sideline.
I
Um,
appreciate you.
so I'm just glad to be here, as just to have an opportunity to be with my sisters, because it's been a minute, even though we are never separated. It's just time and space, and we all have things going on. But so listen, I did the same thing T did. When I saw those memories, it was memories on my Facebook, on my Snap, on Instagram, like everything was pulling up, and I was just like, wow, looking back, it was truly amazing. Now I'm gonna say this first. We know that we didn't do anything new. Okay, so I'm just, we know that we didn't do anything new, but at the time, what we were doing, it was so prophetic to even like where we are at this time now. I think we kind of understood that we were embarking on a journey for something, and we were just open and receptive to it. So even though it wasn't
Right,
something that was new, we were still just like open and available for God to do whatever it is that He was going to do through us. And
right,
I think my going into it, I was kind of like, I remember we had our first meeting, and we kind of didn't want to be structured in no thing. We wanted God to just use us, but we were all kind of saying that we need some kind of foundation. But
right,
where do we go from? So I think in my study and being receptive, I was kind of gleaning to what I felt like people needed at the time, and just being open to that and dealing with our own issues and what we all had shared and what we was going through, because we did fellowship with each other prior to us getting to the revival. We had a lot of meetings, and not meetings like structured meetings, but just fellowship, which what we needed to be able to vibe with each other.
Yes.
And that's kind of like where I got mine. I wasn't like my attack came really during and after. Like my whole
okay.
night was like, I don't know what was going on. I just felt like it was. Now, as many times I didn't preach, and you never stop being nervous, and you never stop being like
Never.
anxious,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
It's still with you, but for some reason, it felt like it was the first time. It was a press, like it, and it wasn't. And keep in mind, the audience is familiar. It was people there that maybe you didn't know, but for the most part, there was family
It
there.
was your people.
It was
Yeah,
your people. It was like
yeah.
ministry that we all functioned and fellowship with, but it still felt like it was a press. It felt like the people that were before me that I was laboring with, they ceased to be my people and became like my assignment. So
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, it changed, the dynamics. And there was just some other elements that was pressing me too. And then the night was just, I just remember like everything kind of like falling apart that night for everybody. It was like me and Creasha was, she had traffic issues because remember she almost didn't make
The
it.
fires,
Yeah,
yes.
so it was like it was
Oh,
happening. And so by the time I got up to preach, the night was far spent because we started late. It was just a lot of stuff going on. But then leading after it, it was kind of like I was getting like inboxes of people really pressing the issue about women preaching, us just being out of order and being out of line. And people were trying to glean like, was it drama? Like making things up that really wasn't so. And that was the
Right.
impact that was on the other end. It was
Mhm.
like, no, that's not
tell the
what it
truth. Shame the
was,
devil.
and I just had to tell that truth about it because people need to know that we already said that women can get together and do things and it not be no drama. Now,
Right.
despite
Thank you.
everybody having their own personalities and what we
Right.
do, we don't agree on everything, and we're not we don't even travel all in the same circle. Like
No, we
we
don't.
but we
Tell the
all have
truth.
different circles. And even in that, it was
Right.
like we know to leave stuff where it is. So if it was something that somebody speculated or brought up, it was y'all.
Right. It wasn't us.
Absolutely.
It wasn't us.
Y'all.
It was
Absolutely.
y'all
Mm-hmm.
were messy. But that's pretty much it. But that was kind of like my take on it. But I did grow from it, which was I really did grow from it. It was an opportunity for me to be in a different element. And unlike any other revival, it was really different. It was really different in a positive way. It wasn't something
Yeah.
like it wasn't like regular church. It was like,
Yeah.
and then I was in awe of seeing all of you labor. I've seen you guys minister before, but it was just something like everybody labored in a different way. Chisa blew my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, T, you had like, it's just like, it was like, are these the same people? Brienne, I was like, who are these people?
Right.
Just even doing altar call, like how you guys were able to flow, just like how, it was just like, huh?
I think part of it, Akila, we all were on one accord. We had an idea of what this was going to be. We were clear. We were clear and concise in our thoughts. And when there was a call to pray, we took that time and we stopped and we
Yeah.
prayed. You
Yep,
know, when T would say, "Okay, we're gonna pray every whatever it was at noon," we praying every
Right.
whatever it was at noon because that's what we needed for ourselves.
yep,
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
so then by the time we got to church, honestly, it was how can I serve?
right,
How can
That
I
part.
be a
Yes.
blessing? Okay. I honestly don't feel like anyone on that platform had an ego.
right,
You know, egos were left somewhere else. And so that's why the whole idea, I think we were so determined to not be what the
The
naysayers were
status
saying.
quo. Yes.
that's
Me
You
it,
know,
too. I
I
that's
agree.
think
it,
we had become so convinced that it's like, oh, that's the next attack. Now you're going to attack us for doing something
Prepare.
right.
mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
well, let's make the adjustment and let's make sure that we don't do anything that's going to cause us to slip or push somebody else. And another thing I love that you said, Akila, was the fact that it's not like we did something that was brand new.
Right.
Quiet is kept. One of the main mentors that was in the building has
Right,
an established organization. Watch
Hmm.
this, of 15 plus years, and
Mm-hmm.
it's called Sisters in Ministry. So when I say we're standing on strong
Shoulder.
shoulders, that
Yes.
we have a strong foundation.
Yes.
We knew we had backup.
And that's
Okay.
why I really wanted those ladies to be a part of what we were doing. I really wanted them to come and kind of just their spirit to be there with us because I did
yes,
feel like I called Dr. Susie Jones and she was like on it. Fran got with Dr. Dawson and everybody was just with it. Brienne got with
Pastor
Pastor
PG.
Akila, Pastor
Yeah.
Alicia Pagee,
mm-hmm.
and to have those women to come and be
Oh
there,
my
Pastor
God.
Edwina, to have
Yes,
them to come to be there to be
Yes.
with us, and because we are sitting on their shoulders,
right,
so for them to be in
Absolutely.
attendance meant the absolute world. I think to all of us,
Yeah.
because me myself, it's not like it's a lot of us to look up to. of course, we're outnumbered in the world of preaching. Like Akila said, they men feel like we shouldn't even have the microphone to preach. We're only good for singing, or we may be good for something else, but we're not good
Right.
enough to get up and preach the gospel, to bring the good news. You know what I mean? And so to have those women to be there to support us, to be able to call on them, to be able for them to say, we'll mentor you, which they have been
Yes.
mentors to us and things like that. And I think that's why we were able to get this done because of those women. Just looking at what they did, it was like I wanted to make them proud. I wanted
Right.
them to see us do this.
Exactly.
I wanted them to see us come together. And friend, you said something that was so important, because too many times, like you said, even though we don't run in the same circles, we know each other, we love each other, we built a camaraderie in that space. And we may not have always agreed with how I did things. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a real laid back person. I'm not really argumentative. I'm kind of laid back. I'm not aggressive when it comes to
Not
getting
until
my
you have
point
to be.
across.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. Not until you have to be. Like we all
Right.
got that T, but it's just. But that was part
Stop
of being a
capping.
leader. You
Right.
know what? I'm gonna be
Stop
honest,
capping.
and I'm gonna be transparent. Hmm. During this process, when T would call, it was like, okay, it's like I know she knows what to do, but it's something about knowing that you can talk to somebody that's not going to have a biased opinion, going to
Yeah.
be straightforward, and watch this, encourage you to be the leader that you need to
Yeah.
be. It's
Right.
not about whether I like the decision or not, because there were some things that I knew I couldn't attend, but that was me, and I wasn't going to make my issue anybody
Anybody
else's
else's.
issue.
Right.
So my thing was, T, if this is what God gave you, and if he told you to say
Be
it
that.
just like this, shut up talking to me and go do it. Like, I'm not going to be the hindrance. I'm not going to be the reason why the blessing didn't get there for 21 days. Not me. Okay. So go ahead and do it. Now, I want us to pause real quick because Chisa, you coming up. I want you to share, but I want to add to the stream, and I hope she's ready. The one and the only evangelist. Whoa. Lucretia Clark
I wish you would have said
Wallace.
it live like
Okay.
that. I wish you would have said it
Right.
Agree.
She
live
Come
like
on,
that.
Evangelist Wallace. Welcome to
she
the
get a
party.
whole song.
Hey
Hey,
Okay.
y'all.
Cree.
Hey,
Chisa,
Cree.
you got one coming too. Stop it. But
Okay.
but welcome to it. I just want to bring you up to speed real quick, sis, because I saw you jump down in the comments, and now it's like you're gonna be in attendance one way or the
I
other.
was like,
So
get
I
on
was like,
camera.
how
What's
should he
going
get the
on?
link? Get her over here.
right.
My
Listen,
look, it be I'm down here in the sticks, so some stuff don't be coming through, man.
It was on the way. It was coming through the
right.
valley. It was
Right.
on the way. But no, so what we're doing right now, sis, we're just sharing what that experience was for us.
Woo.
How we
Yeah.
individually benefited from being a part of it, what it felt like being in it, uh
Mm-hmm.
any possible roadblocks that occurred leading up to it or occurring afterwards. Because Akila reminded us that you almost didn't make it because of the
Listen.
doggone fires. So
Look,
we're gonna get to that in a minute. I'm gonna shoot to Chisa because Chisa, I want him to hear Chisa's voice.
Now,
There you go.
Yes. First giving honor to God who's ahead of
Oh,
my life. No,
oh, bless his name.
you know,
I told y'all that elder do something to you.
Look, it's that elder
No,
word. It's that elder.
you know, first of all, I really, really love and miss y'all. I know throughout the year we
miss
would
you
randomly
too.
hit each other up, just
Right.
encouraging one another. But I have to say that is one of my favorite things about this group. Um, I was most definitely honored, to be a part of, Let the Girls Preach. I didn't take it lightly. Y'all know I'm a shy and bashful something, but Lord,
Says
it ain't no,
who?
listen, it ain't nobody but
Let her
God.
tell her story. Look.
Evangelist Cree, it ain't nobody but God. Look, because y'all know my issues before I get in the pulpit. I gotta go. I gotta go, gotta go, gotta. But anyhow, I love the leading up to it because again, as co-pastor Akila said, people, the rumors did come and people saw us, and it's amazing how people just assume that women just don't get along. I want to know where that came from because I'm like, y'all have to have taken like a small group of women and set that up, because I've had female friends like the same one since I was 12. And thank God that, as I came in contact with you all, we've been friends. I go by how old my daughter is. So since she was about 2 or 3 for some of you guys,
Wow.
and the love is still there. Yes, my daughter will be 24 in December, so I'm crying.
Whoa.
Um, so yeah,
Yikes.
you guys are old as well. But I appreciate the village that the Lord has placed around, the encouragement leading up to it, and even the week of, with all the happenings that were going on. The way the devil tried to shut it down with illnesses and transportation and mental things. What amazed me the most about it is how God set up. I'm gonna give you a little bit of appetizer and then the meat and potatoes, but every night the appetizer and the dinner made sense. It went well together. It was
Yeah.
almost like, okay, Bree, you got the steak. I'm gonna whip up these mashed potatoes real good. I'm gonna give you a little gravy to set you up right for your meat. And I just loved it. Was like that literally every night. The two women literally just about spoke on the same thing. But the amazing thing about God, it was from different angles of the Bible, and we literally reached out to everybody.
Yeah.
He
Uh,
You hear a woman's revival, and I'm not even gonna lie, being transparent. You go to some churches and you'll see like a low turnout, especially in the beginning of the week. But when I say every night we was there, I was
Every night.
walking out
Facts.
like, I
Yes.
mean, like before service started
yeah.
at 7 o'clock, and I'll be the one going out like, okay, what can we do to get this going so it
Right.
can start right on
Right.
time or whatnot? And do you know the church would be packed before service started? And I'm like,
Right.
And
Yep.
so,
Teresa,
and people come in late. Yes, ma'am.
and people were saying I wanted to come, but I couldn't find a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
There was nowhere to park, so there were people who had to be turned away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My uncle was one of those people. My uncle
Oh,
left his Bible study, rushed over to where we were, and I think he probably caught the tail. But he said it's because he was walking up the street. Now let me tell you something. If that ain't old school church, where people will park
yeah.
far at night
And
in the
walk.
South Central on Hoover for the word,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, as far as my inspiration on what to preach, I was just in a lot of prayer. I think I prayed so much because when I was younger, I used to dream of this. I used to dream I was on a platform,
Oh,
couldn't hear myself saying anything, but I was speaking to people. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, God,
Mm.
what is this? A reoccurring dream I promised to God. So when uh, Elder Johnson introduced the idea, I was like, cool. She said, I'm finding some of my favorite preachers. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to be here to watch. I'm going to help out. And she dropped my name. I said, well, okay, Jesus. Okay, to God be the glory. I must be saying something right. But in all honesty, it was, with everything going on, we just needed the blood of Jesus.
Oh
Right.
I
my Lord.
actually got that message. I have been studying it for years. But when I say it was like the Lord took me
Wow.
15 years back just to drop it
Hmm.
for that night, it was
Hmm.
like on
Wow.
time. It was in order. It was confirmed. And like I said, Elder Brienne preached the same thing from a
yeah.
different
Yes.
passage talking about the blood. So it
Only
was
with
just
the
befitting
issue.
for the
Yes.
time. It was ready. And Lord knows I've been the woman with the issue of blood. So I needed some covering myself. But
My
it's
Hmm.
just
Lord.
amazing from Ezekiel 16 how he's just talking about, how you're just the dirtiest, the filthiest. You think you don't have nothing, you're the worst. But the Lord, his blood will clean you up and make you beautiful. Pretty much grace before it was grace. And
Right.
I
Mm.
just wanted
Yes.
to encourage the people because I've always felt like if I was dealing with it, if
Yeah.
I'm a Christian and I'm living for other people, then what I'm going through needs to be said because we are saved by the words of our testimony. So that was the deal. And thank you, Fran, for having us on this show. I appreciate that. I feel
Yes.
famous
Absolutely.
because Fancy is
Yeah.
famous.
Man,
Yes,
listen,
she
Yeah.
I'll be
is.
over here minding my business. I promise you, and
Listen,
staying
you
out of
are famous and
everybody's way.
you are famous in the Lord. And I'm just glad that I can walk around in your footsteps and be
Wow.
along for the ride. This is awesome.
I
Yes.
appreciate you, Chisa. I really do. Ladies, I will definitely say this. The hmm, what we went through in preparation for this revival last
I
year.
was just thinking
Lord.
that leading up to it.
Yeah, what we went through
The
in
warfare.
preparation for it, and then looking at where we are now
Mhm.
in this pandemic.
Y'all
Like,
different. No, I'm telling you, listen, y'all are different. It is like I mean, I look at everybody differently, but I don't know. It's like a glow. Like everybody from that point on, when you talk about Friend being famous, like I feel like you guys are all like the popular girls. You know how like you had the popular girls in school, and I feel like we a
Don't
clique of
say
the
that too
popular
much because you
girls.
know you don't start nothing
It's
because
the
you
truth.
know
Don't.
this
But let me
video
tell you
can be
why.
played back,
Because
sis.
how often do you get to be with a group of women that you feel like, oh my God, you're amazing? You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
have to
Yeah.
embrace that. Like I just feel like I see you guys so differently now. You guys are all beautiful, anointed women, and you
You
guys,
are too.
there's just like a glow.
And
It's
you
like,
are
Yeah.
in that. And
We most
let me
definitely
just
got to
stop
see
for a
a
little
different side
commercial.
of each other.
Let me just
We
stop for a
most
little
definitely
commercial.
did.
Congratulations,
Yes.
to Miss Akila. Okay,
You
you
know what? Because I'm
officially
trying to tell you that was
engaged.
coming.
Okay,
That was
I'm
coming.
Yes.
sorry,
We had to.
Fran.
Meet me at
No, no,
the
you good. You
altar
good,
in
sis.
your white dress. Oh, I'm sorry.
The reason why I had to say that is because
I
I
do not own the
know
rights to that song.
that she was talking about the glow and just
Yes.
watching us go through certain things, the things that we shared with each other
Listen,
about the things that we've been through, the testimonies that we had about different things in our lives from childhood to, I mean, we really went in depth with each other. Like it was therapy sessions that we
yeah,
had
Yes.
together.
oh
And
God,
it was some hurtful things in there too, because the kind of person that I am, I want to see all of us win,
hmm
women,
yeah,
Mhm.
period, in ministry. And so wanting to see that and then getting some of the backlash from other women that I want to see win was very hurtful. And it's hurtful when people go and make up stories that are untrue, and they try to get other people to buy into those stories so they will look at you different. But thank God for the Holy Ghost that
Uh,
your lifestyle outlived the lies.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, you don't have to prove anything to nobody. And the Ari said the truth needs no proof. Either it is or it isn't. So
listen,
thank
yeah.
God that we stayed and we didn't kind of get into this combative um social media subbing or any of that. We
yeah,
literally start fasting, start praying about it, and all these things, and we watch God work and blossom,
work,
like you said, and blossom us in that moment. To watch you all minister in that forum, just not separately, but to watch us come together for those nights and watch two people minister
Lord,
and just
mm,
go. And I mean, it was just like,
I'm
wow.
telling y'all,
And though it's happened before, I still had never seen it, if that makes sense.
right, right.
Right.
yeah. Eyes have not seen type.
It's the glow for me though, y'all. I'm just saying it's the glow
It
for
was a
me.
glow for me.
Because
It's the
it's the glow
glow.
for me because there's been just like you know how in church we say a greater anointing, even though it's I don't know, like
What is?
I know what you
Oh,
mean, though.
it's
Yes.
not maybe like that's a greater anointing, but it's just a different glow. So I like friends doing things, Cree's doing things. Cree, you over there looking like your mom, dude, for real.
girl,
Man, every time she looks down, that's all I saw. Like,
Like, you
oh,
look
the
at your
burn,
mom.
the
That's
burn.
tight.
Shisa,
That's
let me
tight.
tell you what. Shisa has become the braid guru. Okay, I have people hunting me down
Lord,
to connect with her to teach them how to braid. It's anointing in her hand. T then stepped into her other role. It's just like it's everybody just
Yeah,
yes,
I felt
kind of lifted up
Elevation.
from it.
Yeah.
yeah,
it's the
And there's
glow
more
up.
to come. I
It's
could
the
see
glow
it.
up.
The
Yeah.
glow,
absolutely,
it's the glow for me.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
came in when we connected. I was just like throwing on y'all laps everything that I was going through at the time. And because, I mean, and like you said, no mess, no drama, because I was able to come directly to you guys and share and pour it out. And you guys knew what I was going through to come out and be like, bam, it's the ring for me too. So,
listen, cause listen, event, it's the ring for me. I'm sorry.
see, you was there. See, she didn't know all about it. So,
Listen,
Hey,
and
I just
that
want to
and
be a
that's a
witness.
it's a blessing. It's a blessing when you can get on the other side of the storm and you can really look and
Mm.
see
Yes,
what it was worth it. You know, I
Yes.
I didn't see how I was gonna get through it, how I was gonna get over it, but now I'm on the other side and I'm looking back and
yeah.
it's just amazing and it's a blessing. So this is what I want to do because something amazing happened during this revival on the last night. But before we get to that, Krisha, I want you to go ahead and share your experience and share what that was for you. And I'm gonna pray right now
All
because I
right.
know I know she gonna make me laugh. And so I'm gonna
Here we go.
actually, for the first time tonight, I'm gonna mute myself. So that way, no, I'm serious. So I will not scream because I've been
Right.
trying to control my laugh, but this
Right.
case right here, I'm just letting you
I'm
know
gonna
Will
be
now.
take
nice.
you
I'm
all the
gonna be
way there.
nice.
Come on.
Okay, I was very honored to be amongst all of you guys. Um, Me, T, and Fran have been rocking for years. And when T first called me, oh, I'm sorry, we saying elders and all that stuff.
Girl, say T,
So when T
girl.
called me and presented the idea to me, I was like, oh my God, let's go, let's do it. And she was like, I want you to preach. I was like, well, no, I just want to help. Like, for everybody that knows, I'm not a really big fan of taking the platform. I'm supporting, I'm behind the scenes. I'm like the cheerleader. So when she was like, no, sis, I want you to be a part of it. And I immediately went into prayer and I told her, I said, sis, I said, be ready. I said, because the warfare that's
Mm,
coming with this was before I even knew who was on the lineup. This was before we even knew dates or anything. But I knew because of the assignment that God had given her, the warfare that will be attached to it. And I told her, I said, the warfare is going to be intense. I said, so we need to be fasting, we need to be praying. And I was, just going in and just kind of getting ahead of the enemy, because me knowing the enemy, because I'm on the front line when it comes to warfare, I know how the enemy maneuvers. And I also know church people and I also know people. And so I was just trying my best to get ahead of everything. So when the phone calls started coming, when the Facebook posts started going, everybody know me. Krisha wants to turn up. It was times when Fran and T was like, no, sis, you can't do that. I was like, I just want to fight. Let's just fight. Let's just get over with. I mean, that was just my natural state, because what person do you know don't want to see the kingdom elevated or the kingdom to advance, and they are in the kingdom? So I took it personal, like, how dare you fight against God? And I've learned that I can't fight God's battle. I had to learn to allow God to fight it. So I just began to pray. I began to, if you guys know my post, that it was all, I would just post prayers constantly. And I was praying for us, because physically the attacks that came up against the bodies, I think there was like a stroke, there was a mild stroke, there was migraines, there were sicknesses, there was
Yes.
vomiting, there was, like, I mean, people were in hospitals, bodies had shut down, marriages was on the rocks. Like, all of this stuff led up to the conference. Like, mind you, we hadn't even probably even had our first meeting yet, and all these things were going on. And so I knew that that the assignment was great because the warfare was great. So there was times when I would have to be on the phone with T, and I'll be like, just stick to what you said. I may not like it, but you do what God told you to do. If God told you to do that, then you do what God told you to do, regardless of who likes it, regardless of who don't like it, or whatever. So it was just leading up to it was the warfare. That's how I knew that it was God, because the devil ain't gonna fight nothing that's not finna
right,
shake up his kingdom.
right, right.
So and the night of the revival, just the deliverance, the things that took place, the way that it was going live, the streams, the things that was taking place, it was like a supernatural assignment, a supernatural event. Although we've seen it before, we've never seen it done on this level, if that makes sense. Like with the streaming, we had the women going forth, we had the brothers behind us covering us. It was literally like a marriage or a birth taking place in the spiritual realm. Usually when ministry takes place, it's mostly men and the women are serving, but there's never a man and a woman on the platform together birthing something, birthing the word of God together. And we had that. So I knew that this was going to be powerful. And there was so much that was going on as far as me getting there. Just they shut the 14 down, and I was just like, I have to go. My husband couldn't come because we only had that one car that was working at the time. It was just so much going on. And I got on the freeway, y'all, I promise you. And I took Angeles Forest Highway. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that.
That's that one.
Listen, it
Mm-hmm.
is one way
Yep.
there and one way back. And it's no barriers. And when I tell you, I pray.
You gotta
Yes.
hold the wheel. You can't take your hands off the wheel for nothing. You can't change the radio
Listen,
station. You
listen.
can't turn the lights
Mind
on. You
you,
just
I'm driving like this. I got my kids in the car. I told them to just go to sleep. I prayed, Lord, just let a spirit of slumber hit my children because I needed
I don't
them
want
to
them
be
to move.
asleep so I can focus. When I tell you, I was driving at like 25 miles per hour. I had a long line of cars behind me. I didn't care. I was like, I'm not looking back. I'm praying and crying the whole way there because I'm like afraid of height. Like, I promise you. And all I could see myself was just going over that hill in that little orange truck. And I was like, Jesus, Lord, just let me get there, honey. Well, just let me get there. And when I got there, just the things that happened when I got there before I even took the platform. My sister was in the back purging. Something had jumped on her, and we was praying and she was purging. And immediately God said, elevation. He said, there will be elevation. This revival is going to cause everybody to elevate, not only in their personal life, but in the spiritual realm.
yeah.
And I promise you, when she came and took the platform, there was like a praise and uproar that took place in not only in that place, but in our spirit. It felt like that. It felt like I can't describe it, but it was just like a victorious roar that had took place in the spiritual realm. And I told her, I said, ain't no going back now, y'all. We got to go full-fledged ahead in this. Like, ain't no going back now.
Y'all
Ain't no
about to have
going
me in
back.
Mhm.
tears.
And I promise you,
I'm
that
about to sit
night,
you right here,
my
boo.
brother took the platform and he got the rebuking and saying things. And he was like, I'm supporting this. It is what it. And I was like, okay, God, let's go. It was like a green light. God gave us a green light to go full fledged and to literally steamroll the devil, the rumors, the words, everything that tried to get in the way. Because mind you, this was Friday night.
Right.
And so Friday night, usually the crowds are kind of shaky because everybody be clubbing on Fridays, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But we had a packed house. The deliverance that took place, the crying, the outpour. I mean, it was just an awesome experience. My personal ministry elevated.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, when God began to deal with me about what He wanted me to speak on, I was just like, "You sure you want me to preach about this?" Because so many people gonna look at me and think that I'm talking about this person and
Serving
this
while hurting.
situation and
My
all this and that.
God.
And God was like, hold on. When I tell you to speak, I don't care who has something that you do what I told you to do. So I
Exactly.
took that platform and I took it with boldness and I spoke what God gave me to speak. And the fact of me dealing with
And you did
being
that.
hit, being healed, because a lot of times we are taught to minister through our pain, but nobody ever taught us how to heal and go forth in our healing. And
Hmm.
so I just felt that it was important that we heal before we preach. We heal before we minister. Like how the women were talking about the blood bleeding out everywhere on people. That causes infections. That's bacteria. That's cross contamination. We need to heal before we can effectively minister to people. So I just felt like God had pressed upon me to get that message out, and I'm so glad He did because there was things in me that still needed to be healed. There was things in my marriage, in my relationship as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister that needed to be addressed. So I just felt the whole revival was just a blessing. It was just a blessing, just a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys were a blessing.
Absolutely.
An absolute blessing. And
Um.
when Taylor walked through those doors, y'all,
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
Baby,
done,
when she got up
done,
to preach though,
Listen,
when she got up to
listen,
preach,
done.
I was like,
the
Lord,
power that came behind it.
Uh huh.
there's nobody in this world that can ever stir me away from the love of Jesus Christ. Nothing shall separate me.
Hmm.
Listen,
What I have witnessed throughout my
nothing.
life and what I witnessed last year on October 9th, nothing. Nothing.
listen. When I
Mm-mm.
tell you people was having stroke
Ugh.
symptoms, heart attack symptoms, I mean, fluids coming out of body parts that ain't, I mean, it was crazy the attack and the warfare that came up against us. And I was just like, what the heck is going on? And God had to remind me because of what's coming up. There's a
Yes.
shift, there's a
Yes.
shaking that's going on in the spirit. So if I
Hmm.
was the devil, I would have been mad too. I
Yeah.
would have been trying to take us out too.
And let me
Right.
You
shout
know?
out one more person real quick because Eva J, she and
Yes.
John Bernard, they put us on their radio
Mhm.
Oh
platforms
yes, yes,
to
yes.
Mhm.
to talk about the revival and even afterwards.
Yeah.
So I really, really want to thank them because a lot of people. It was so crazy how people was like before we put it out there. We were taking the pictures and we had put some of the pictures up, just a few, but we hadn't put the Let the Girls Preach stuff up yet. And people were like,
Right.
I don't know what's going on,
But I
but
want right,
I want to
but
be a
something
part.
is
Right.
brewing.
right.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so even the
And I really
anticipation.
loved our approach to everything. It was like,
Yes.
okay, is this just a girlfriend's trip coming up, or is what's
Yeah.
happening? Are they doing a
Right.
play? Like, what's
Right.
up? They all in different
Right.
colors. Who? What are
Kept
we
them
doing? We having a
guessing.
tea party? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Right.
You know. But it was really just kind of awesome to see how everything came together, and then everything that happened after the fact. There was such a flood of appreciation. And
Hmm.
there are a couple of people that are in our comment section on Facebook right now that have
Oh,
shared how they were just so blessed by how messages that they heard were so freeing. Other ladies that were saying that they felt the press on their spirit, that it's like, I'm supposed to go forth, I'm
yeah.
supposed to branch out, and look, they're doing it. And
Yes.
honestly, more than anything else, it was for the little girl that's sitting in the audience.
Yes.
It was for the
Yep.
teenage girl that she feels the call on her life, but she feels like she hasn't lived yet.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to go telling God yes and then go out and be a hoe. Like, it's like,
Well, I don't know
Right.
about that
you
part,
know what
but
I'm
Talk to
Please
and
saying?
don't.
play. Talk to and play.
And,
No,
and
for real.
no, I'm
listen.
just being honest,
Yes.
So
No, that's what
it,
it is.
yeah, because see, the thing is, my mom made me go back and pray when I told her that I wanted to preach.
Right.
And
Mm.
she was like, no, you need to go back and pray. And the reason she was saying it was because of the criticism that was going to come
Right.
behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
she was going to think less of me, but because she knew what I didn't know at the time. And that was,
Yeah.
sometimes church folks suck. And um,
Period.
yeah,
Most of the time.
yeah.
Most of the time.
Period. It is what
you
it is.
know, no, I'm just saying, sometimes they can be extremely judgmental, and they hold people that step into ministry to a higher standard than they hold themselves. Yes, we carry the gospel, so blessed are our feet. Wonderful. But
Yes.
when it's all said and done, when you take that elder title off, when you take that evangelist title off, you are still human. There's flesh and blood under those clothes,
Absolutely.
and either it's gonna heat up sometimes. Oh, bless his name, as Susie Jones would say. Either,
Yes.
either it's gonna heat up sometimes, and you're gonna go do something, or you're gonna put something in your system to cool you down and calm you down.
Right.
Okay, so the thing is, you have to deal with the people that you're around. There's some lessons that come with it, and so
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
out of all of the messages that were delivered during this revival, they got a clear vantage point of what being a Christian woman looks like. Okay. It
Mm-hmm.
In
does not
today's
True.
mean
time.
I'm perfect in these
In
True.
today's
times.
time.
Look, as they
Yes.
would say, in these last and
In these
evil
last
days.
and evil days.
Listen.
Exactly.
This is what a Christian woman looks like. This is what I have to go through to carry the gospel. This
Yeah.
is what it takes. These are the sacrifices that I make. I can't go out with everybody.
Oh
Bless his
God.
No,
name.
you
I
cannot.
can't I can't show up
Cannot.
at everybody's function. And yeah,
Nope.
your feelings gonna get hurt. But
Right.
before we had the social distance, I'm a pro at social distancing. Do
Listen
you
here.
Ah,
understand? Okay, I don't talk to nobody anyway. So I'm in my zone right now. You
Me
understand?
too.
I stay away from people, and I stay
Y'all
away
pray
from
for me.
people not because I don't like people. It's just that when you get too many folk in your business, it's not your business anymore.
yep.
Okay?
People feel
You tell me
entitled,
something.
like they deserve to know what's going on because they look
Absolutely.
at you. If you treat people like celebrities, they'll treat you like fans.
Right.
Oh
So
God. Come
Yeah.
on, say
Right.
that.
Can I
Right.
say something, Madam Host? So
Yeah.
another thing about that is what also brought out what I saw is that for some of us it was a let me show you where I am now moment, because for some of us we've had some things happen amongst the people that we know, and
Right.
Man.
it was an opportunity for them to not see, oh, look
Right.
at what it was, but see, this is
Right.
where it is now. Now, there's no
Right.
deny. You can't deny this word because it's for you.
Mm.
I'm here to bless you now, because
Right.
the same person that you speculated, the same person that you talked about, the same person
Mm-hmm.
that you were kind of trying to figure out, or you
Mm-hmm.
were assuming. Now, here's what it is. So it also
right.
shows those
And
women.
some of it might have been facts.
that
Hello.
that part.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me
No,
stop.
no, no, you're right. But again, we put ourselves in a position to show that even though you said we are flesh, but this is how you handle it. We don't
Right.
hide. We come out because here we are raw. This is
Right.
what
Right.
happened. This is what we've been through. This is what we are, and we're
Right.
still standing and still being and still fulfilling the assignment of God despite what we've been through. Because it's not
Right.
about us.
One thing I've
Exactly.
learned about ministry and all of my years of ministry is ministry makes you vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there is no way that you can be in ministry and not be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And this conference, I joked a lot when we were meet up and things like that. But that's one of my defense mechanisms because I'm vulnerable. I'm
Yeah.
wide open. I have to share with you guys things that I don't share with nobody normally except for
Right.
God. And in
Right.
order for my word to be able to reach those that needed to be reached, I have to first tear down
Right.
the image that I have up my defense. I have to first pull that wall down. So when we all first got together, that those walls had to come down. We
Right.
could
Yes.
no longer be evangelists and co-pastors and ministers. We had to come to the table and say, the last time we talked, I think I wanted to fight you, but
See,
let me
Listen,
but let's sit down, let's talk about, oh, okay, so they said that oh, so it was just a misunderstanding. Let's hug it out and let's move
see,
forward.
Mhm.
And that's what
Exactly.
ministry
I
But
love
see, they
that.
didn't get to see all of that. You
but
see what
that's
I'm
No.
saying?
right, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what ministry is. When we got up
Right.
there and we called each other sisters, that wasn't fake.
Right.
There was
Right.
some mending, there was some healing, there was some
Right.
apologies, there was some forgiveness, there was some things that had to happen in order for the revival to be effective as it was.
I can't,
and
Keela.
that's exactly why it was, because it was so much order set with the foundation. The foundation was
Yes.
already strong. Yeah, we knew each other, but there was some ground rules that even all of us, I'll even go as far as saying all of us alpha women had to come down from in our
Yeah.
personal life,
Hmm.
ministry, motherhood, all that stuff. We all had to make sacrifices. We all went through stuff. But the thing is, like, Cree was saying, you know what I'm saying, she was learning how to be vulnerable. My joking and stuff like that is because I was learning how to thicken my skin, not take things so personal. If I'm serving, it's not about how I feel and what I'm doing. It's
Right.
about what am I doing for the kingdom. There were
Right.
things like we all said that we didn't agree with, and that's okay. We agree to disagree to build the kingdom. At the end of the
Right.
Right.
day, it's what's right for God. What can we do to
Exactly.
show people? Because like Sister Keela was saying, let me tell you something. We used to club and do all of these things, but we have to be real and raw now because we're not in a generation of, no, you can't do this, do as I say, do, and not as I
Right.
do.
Right.
We're living in a, oh, you can't tell me what to do unless you done been there. Let me tell you something. My famous line when I get up to preach is, let me tell you something. When I left the club, I didn't stop dancing. I just changed partners.
Change
So if I was
partners.
gonna
Listen
Right.
sweat
here.
my hair out in the club, I'm gonna sweat my hair out in church. So
Hmm.
that was my thing. So when people hear that, they be
Well,
like,
I still
"Ooh!"
go to
They
the
don't just
club.
say, "Look, Cree, listen." They let me tell you, they tell me I want to be
What? I'm just
square too.
being real.
And I
They
love you
say stuff
for it.
like, "I want to be square, but I want to be square like you." So I don't get offended by being square no
Right.
more, because if you want to be square like me, that means I'm relatable to you. So if I
Yeah.
did
Exactly.
it, the Lord
yeah,
can bring you out too, and you can still
Right.
Yeah.
be saved
yeah.
and relatable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
I
So
really learned that.
so on the last night of the revival,
Oh God.
uh
And
now
they
That was a pride mess.
let the record reflect. Let the record reflect,
That
please.
Fran preached
She
No,
first.
let
preached.
the
She
She
preached
Vanity
the
and
she set
Fran
order
elevation.
in the house.
let the record
set the order.
reflect that when T said she wanted to do this, I did not want to preach. I will
I
work
didn't
in the
either.
back.
Remember, I wasn't supposed to
no,
I
be in
no,
the
will
no,
work
front.
in the
no. None
back.
of y'all wanted to preach. How are we gonna have a revival when did nobody want to preach?
No, I was only on to set it up. Remember I had
She
asked
was a
someone else to
visionary.
be on, and the
She
person
was a
couldn't make it.
visionary.
So since the
Yes.
person couldn't make it, that's the only reason why I was on. It was
Yeah,
not
but
my
then none of
intent to
y'all want to
preach.
preach though. Cree was saying she don't
I
have to
didn't.
preach. Fran was saying she had to preach. Chisa wanted to be the usher. I'll just wait at the door.
I
Like
was
everybody
like,
said,
Akila
okay,
to
well, who's
preach
gonna
by
preach the
herself.
revival then?
I was like, Akila can preach by herself. She got this. I could just stand at the door. Like
She
I could
was
work the
saying that. I'm
altar.
like, girl,
I
I
just
was like,
wanted to
let me work the
administrate.
altar.
That's all
It's
I
a
wanted
bunch
to
of,
do.
let me tell you something. It's a bunch of Jonas on this phone right now.
Oh
Yes.
my
I can't.
God, this is ridiculous. I'm getting mad now because I'm thinking about how many times y'all try not to preach.
it was never my. I'm
Every
telling you,
I'm
every
serious.
meeting,
it was
every
never my
meeting.
intention. and it was 8 people, and that name, my name was not on there to do anything but orchestrate it and put it together.
Well,
That
And
is
that
let's
what
is
set
I
the
true.
wanted to
record
do.
straight that everybody who doesn't want to preach, or everybody who does preach, didn't want to preach in the beginning. So let's just establish that.
I'm just
Period.
being
Yeah.
honest. I just wanted the record to reflect. And then when I finally said, okay, I'll preach, I was specific when I said I don't want to go last.
You
And
were.
Don't
you
put me
was.
on
You
last.
were. You
And
Don't
you
were.
do
know
You
what I
that.
was.
told Fran? I said, listen to me. I said, I do have enough intelligence and enough knowledge to know this.
Listen,
That when you are, I'm a sports fan. I said, and one thing about the baseball game is that you put the best pitcher in at the last inning.
Yes.
So I
go
wasn't saying that to
Dodgers.
say that anybody else is
Oh,
less than Fran, but Fran has been in this for a long time, and
Y'all
there was
silly.
just something. No, and there was just something about that revival for
It
me
was serious.
Yeah.
that did something when I saw Fran, and then we prayed for her. The spirit that I felt that was in that moment, it
Yeah.
did something, and I said she has to be here and she has to do this. And little did we know that whatever she's about to talk about, that she was going to usher that moment in. And I
You
don't
know
Yes.
even think
what?
she
I
knew.
was I was not gonna preach that. For those that don't know, I'm just gonna be honest. Cause I wrestled with that thing because I'm like, ooh, this is gonna step on some
That
toes,
was a
and I know
pastoral
it.
message.
And that's why I was leery of it because I have good home training. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I tell you that my pastor, who just so happens to be my dad, made sure that I understood going into this thing that there are certain sermons that are pastoral and that are meant to come from a pastor.
mhm.
However, when you're preaching in a revival, because that is it's a different setting, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It Because if you're going to restore, that means you have to break up some stuff. And
Right.
so
Oh
when you're
God.
breaking up some stuff, you kind of step into more of a pastoral role. It's just a matter of you're in leadership at that moment.
Right. Right. Right.
And so
Yeah.
I felt like choosing a topic, stay in a woman's place
Woo cha.
at a women's revival,
Yeah.
I need some tea.
the
You was
irony,
walking the line. You was
the
walking the
She
line.
was.
irony of it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The audacity.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
How
unmitigated
dare
The
gall.
you?
mitigated
How
gall.
dare
How
Yeah.
dare
you?
you?
You know what
How
I'm
dare
Clutch my
saying?
you?
To
pearls.
stand here and say, stay in a woman's place. But see, the thing is, what I cannot stand is a woman who wants to come in with this I'm better than every man preaching type attitude. And
There is no
you got
competition,
to,
right?
you know what I'm saying? You come in to slay all the brothers.
Right.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Let me tell you, no, you still out of order. Because see,
Yeah.
when it's all said and done, God has an order to how his church should roll. And I've been very honest about this. If I ever stepped into a pastoral role, I would still have a pastor.
Yes.
That if
Right.
that
Absolutely.
pastor gives me some instructions, I'm gonna take heed, So, and
Hmm.
that's why I keep mentors around me. And a couple of my mentors were in the building. Bishop Sanders was there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, Sandra Dawson, who will check me on the regular, and I respect that level of accountability that we have. So
Hmm.
I knew with this topic, I'm really getting ready to cut cross some boards here. And it was almost like, and see what's gonna happen is if there are some conceited brothers in the building, they're gonna nod for the wrong reason. And by the time I come around that mountain,
Woo
and
cha, because you sure came around that mountain.
you
Did
know
she
what I'm
come around the
saying?
mountain
We're gonna get
when she come?
everybody together.
When she
I
can.
just,
Please.
I just don't,
Sorry.
I just don't. I have a problem with uh less than order in the house of God. I really have a
Yeah.
Yeah.
problem with that. And so it was like, nah, let me go ahead and because if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna step out here, if we're gonna go out here, and because since we already knew we're going to another level, I felt in my heart
Hmm.
I wouldn't be who I am if
Come
I
on.
did not say, but if we going, this is the standard that we rolling with,
Right.
We're not
Right.
coming in to tear up what somebody got going. We're going in to serve and we're going to serve humbly. I can be confident in my gift and still be humble,
Right.
Yes.
and
Right.
that's what it
Absolutely.
boils down to. Because
Agreed.
because there's no way you can study any woman in the Bible and not study humility.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
Yes.
You can't.
right,
You
right.
it when you talk about women in the Bible, you're gonna talk about humility.
Well, there was one woman in the Bible that wasn't humble. Her name was Jezebel, but we
Two.
don't want to get
Well,
in there.
Two. The other one was Delilah.
hey,
Yeah, we
but
don't
he
want.
talked about that on the first night of the revival,
Yeah, we don't want to
showing the
get into
difference
that.
between the Jezebel and the Delilah. I'm telling, I done
Yeah.
went through all this footage. I know everybody's sermon on the top of my head at this point. It was like a refresher course for me.
Well, you know
No,
what?
yeah, for real.
One of the things I noticed is that the strategicness of the Holy Spirit, how everybody was placed on a night that was specific to their kind of like their genre and their role in ministry. Like all of our personalities and our ministries and what our assignments are. Like out of all of us, I think Fran, you are like the most not necessarily church, but as far as the one that would necessarily bring the doctrine and bring it to the corner to bring it face value. So it's like, okay, close it out. It was perfect. Then we had the right in the middle because me and Cree are like the renegades. So it was like, we kind of like,
Renegade,
yeah, like
renegade,
Hey.
renegade. Oh, sorry.
we kind of like rolled the middle, and then you had that opening, that crack. Let's crack it open for everything else to come on the first night, and then it's like everything was just strategic
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and properly placed, and it made sense. So if you would literally take a portion of everybody's word, I promise you, you will have a whole thesis.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you would take everybody's word and put it together, there would be a thesis of how to move and how to operate in women's ministry. I promise you. I promise you. It
And
would be a devotional, and it would be a palm pilot for people at this time serving, because we dealt with hurt, we dealt with
Oof.
mental illness, we dealt with church hurt, we dealt with street hurt, we dealt with life your faith being tested, your gangster being
yes.
tested, your whole. I mean,
Baby.
we dealt with relationships. I mean, what we dealt with
And
it
you
all.
and you and you talked about strategically placed as again, because just listening to God as God was downloading, like, okay, how, and then I'm like, okay, everybody is great. Everybody's a great preacher, teacher, and everything. So it was like, how do I put two people together and then make it be, where either somebody doesn't feel slighted because everybody's great. And for Taylor and I, not even thinking at the time until I started putting up the posts about that night, I was like, do you know that this came from the clubhouse to the church house?
Yep,
Like, and
yep.
I didn't think about that when I was going through the lineup and how to do it. Because again, I wanted
Lord.
her to be the one to preach and not just lecture. I just wanted to sit down and serve. That's all I wanted to do. Sit down and serve. But
Absolutely.
but the way that it happened, it was like that. And I was like, it's so crazy how it came about because we literally used to club together. Okay.
Wow.
So
Listen
for us
here.
to be in that platform and then to go in ministry together and be on the same platform preaching the gospel was strategic. I was like, God, this is
Wow.
nothing but you.
Yeah.
So on the last night after the sermon was out of the way, I'm playing.
I'm waiting for part two.
Then yeah, that's what they're
Oh,
saying. That's what they're saying
thank you, Sister Lachelle.
in
That's
the
dope.
chat. So on the last night, we do the altar call, and then uh Pastor Theo Wilkins, Overseer Wilkins, comes to the pulpit, and he's standing there, and you can almost tell when he got something up his
I
sleeve.
swear. I swear. He
I
came.
And all of
mean,
his bishopry
I was
he
attire.
it's like he kept trying
shocked.
to hold the
He's so
pulpit. He was
So
trying to,
antsy.
excited.
it was like it was bugging him, like he couldn't wait. And I love it when
I'm
a
sorry, did Cree
pastor
call him messy? Wait.
No, I said he was so
Antsy.
antsy.
antsy,
Oh,
he
Like,
was
girl, I thought I was saying he
antsy.
messy in the Lord. Like,
my
No,
wait.
he
brother
was
ain't
like,
messy.
no,
Everybody know. I
no, he
don't.
was anxious. Like
He was so antsy.
you
Yeah,
could
he
tell he was
was.
anxious about something. It's
He
like,
couldn't
what?
hold it because y'all know
Yeah,
he
like
can't
what's
hold
going
water
on?
anyway.
And if
Girl,
you pay
horrible.
attention to him, like if you paid attention to him that last night, it's like he was just busy, Now, mind you, he had been busy the whole time.
Yeah.
I have
This
never,
was
well,
different.
you know, this pastor
Right.
was parking cars like
Yes.
he was the valet at his church. Okay,
Yes.
Serving,
Listen,
opened
ushering.
up the church to us
Yes.
and said give a donation. Okay,
Yes.
and for those that are planning on doing something along these lines, let the record reflect we did not go in the hole. Bless his
No.
name. All
No.
right.
Hallelujah.
Everybody
Hallelujah.
was taken care of. Everybody received
Yes.
something.
All 8
Our
speakers.
musicians were
Yes.
on point. And
Yes.
let me say this: we had
And the praise and
backup
worship
musicians.
people. The
Okay,
the praise and worship people too.
right.
They got a
Worship
gift.
leaders were there. Singers that just showed up. What you need me to do? Like when
Yes.
I say because everything came together, but I got to get to what happened
Know
first.
Yes.
it, catch
Cause
it,
cause
get it.
more stuff keeps coming to me, and it's like this was a magnanimous event, and I'm gonna
Oh,
use that word all the time.
wait,
I
huh?
said, I said magnanimous. That's what
You
I
need
I
to
had to
said.
put
put
my
that in the
glasses on to
comments.
look at your lips
Spell that.
when you
Put that in the
said it.
comments. She said it was magnanimous in quotation.
It was magnanimous, yes. But so Bishop is Bishop. I done bishoped him now.
Oh
Whoa,
Lord.
Lord, please, I hope he ain't listening.
elevation. Whoa.
Because now he gonna be saying, y'all gotta call me Bishop.
Wait, he already got the suspenders. I'm so mad. I wanted to post that picture of all of us standing there, and he had his good bishop suspenders
He
on,
really did.
and he
Listen,
getting that little bishop
proud,
tummy. Come on, Bishop
Yes,
proud
Wilkins.
I
he
should
though,
have
is.
known
proud.
something when he had on his clergy
He
like that.
had
That's what I'm
he was
He
in
saying.
did.
full
That's what
clergy
I'm
attire.
He
saying.
was.
So he stands there and he says, that this is the perfect night. I've seen so much growth in two individuals, and
No,
I
no,
could
he didn't
not
say
let.
two at first, Fred. Remember, he called
Oh,
one
right,
and we
right. He
didn't
was
know.
trying to. He kept it separate. We didn't know what was happening. You right. You right. You right. Okay. So he starts off whatever, and I've seen her grow. She's been consistent. She's been this. She's been that. She's been serving, and so on. Tonight, I'm ordaining Chiesa Dixon. And when I say Miss America ain't got nothing,
Did she not transform? Did she not transform?
And it was like I was the
Do
runner-up.
slow mo. We gotta do
I gave her
slow
a
mo.
big hug and
T.
everything.
when I say Chiesa was, I was like, there
I am
she
on the
is,
floor.
Miss Miss
I am in tears. I am in
America.
I gave her a big old hug, like, oh my
We
God, I'm
was
so
all
excited
crying like
for
it was
you.
us
Wait a
though.
minute.
Babies.
Why did I
Right,
relive it just
right.
now? I'm
We was all
reliving it. I
crying
was doing this
like it
though.
was us. Like we was finna get a
I got
Right,
certificate
on
too.
full
Like,
face. What is
it's
going on?
right.
me.
So
But
then, now, and see, T, this is what I love about T. When I say T is a rider, T is a
No, press
rider.
pause. Can I please? Can I
Yes.
please?
Tell your
Because
story.
I don't think I could even muster. You know how when you get that overwhelming thing and it be
you was
bubbling
like,
up like your eyes watering? I was about to, and I'm doing this, and T came over crying like, "Oh my God."
I
Right.
was
Like
like,
she was
girl,
more excited for me than I was. And
I
I
was
was just
so
like, girl, you got to stand here with me now. Like, you
Right.
can't go because I need this.
But I
Right.
don't
So
think you
then,
processed it. I don't think you were really processing it.
neither of them
No,
processed
it
it,
wasn't
Akila.
like you heard it, but it wasn't. That's why I said it was like a slow mo.
no, because what happened was T was finna walk away. He was like, don't go nowhere, Evangelist Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's when he brought the other paper up. And I was just like,
It was
What
a
was
okay.
wrap.
going on?
They
It
up
was
there
a
to be
wrap.
like two
straight
pageant
down.
queens. Now they over there two pageant queens. It's just
And mind you,
My feet would
for
not
me,
move. My
for
mama had to come
me,
up
it
there
was
and get me.
so awesome because God had
Girl.
just spoke it through me that Friday and told
Yes.
her that
Yeah.
elevation was about to take place. So when he
Yeah.
said, I was just like, okay, God, see, I told y'all God be speaking to me. I told
Mhm.
y'all.
We know.
let's talk about how I had to ride with my shout out to my pastor sister Edwina. She got on her because we rode together and she had on her full clergy. I'm like, do I need to change my clothes? Because I'm riding with her the whole time. And
It
I'm
was
like,
so weird.
what, like, why you got your full clothes? And then we had to get there early. She's like, you going early? Let me go. Why we gotta go to Three Oaks early? Like, we got there early because I didn't know that she had to sign. And she's like, she was a part of
It was a
the
lot.
whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Wow.
I'm sitting there like, she got her clergy collar on. We got to come early. And then she got up. I'm like,
And
oh,
you know what
okay.
made it so awesome for me, you guys, was the fact that Sonia Dawson was there.
My
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
That
Mm-hmm.
was so awesome for
Mm-hmm.
her to be a woman and a pastor in ministry. And the fact that she
Yes.
had, remember, mind you, she just preached at the Gospel Ministers Conference thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we have been breaking barriers as women for so many years. And for her to be there and witness this
Mm-hmm.
happening it was just like, I promise you, it was just like,
You
oh my
know,
God, like we
Cree, it's a
winning.
message.
Women is
Cree,
winning.
Yeah,
we're
it was a
Cree,
win.
it's a
That
message
was
for
a
you in the
win.
comments.
That
It's a
was a
you know
win
message
for
for
all.
what?
you in the comments,
They
Cree.
were
What's
actually
the
there.
what's the message?
It's saying it was amazing. So upset I missed it. Next time, let me know when God's speaking to y'all about my mama. That's what Bijan said.
Oh,
The you know what's so
Bija,
crazy though?
I'm sorry, niece.
You know what? It was a lot of our female elders there, but what actually impressed me, it wasn't just women supporting us. It was some heavy hitter pastors and bishops in the
Listen,
house.
Yes,
Bishop
Males. I
Sanders
mean,
showed up.
they didn't sit in the pulpit.
yes.
They didn't sit on the front row. They sat where they felt like, like kind of like sit
they
back
was
and
being
feed me.
ministered to. They was being
Excuse
Yes,
me,
ministered
I have to
to.
say this. Excuse me,
girl.
and uh, Bishop PG.
Please don't make me get
Yes.
emotional. I can't
Yes.
do
You
it.
walked in that door to support Brienne. Let me
Yes.
tell you something. That was the one thing I loved. Our
Yes,
pastor showed up. You
Yes,
know,
Pastor
yes,
White.
Jesus, didn't
Yes.
they?
every member
Yes.
showed up. When I tell you, Creisha mama was there, like she
Yes.
was everybody mama, like she
right.
was
Listen,
Yeah.
T's
we was
mom
Every
sharing
and
night.
pastors and
grandmama.
mamas. Them.
And this is why I really wanted y'all to see this video. The first video, and I'm really gonna do my best not to cry because what blessed me on that video was T's grandmama on the first night.
Yes, yes,
When Chris was saying there are times when you and she was just waving her arms in her chair and she
yes.
Oh,
kept kicking her legs out. I said, "Come on, grandmama, just go on and stand up. I'll hoist you up."
Come
You
on.
know,
okay.
and it was just so beautiful for the way our families showed up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
good.
Church families, church members from other churches came to support. I mean, the
Friend,
camaraderie was
Every
there.
night.
friend, I have
Listen,
Every
friends
night.
that do not attend church
Yes,
that
that's
came
what I
to
was
the
about to say.
revival.
I
High
yes.
had
school
I
friends that
had
I
the
have never
projects was
seen in
like,
church.
I
And that's
seen
what I
We
was gonna say.
comments.
So
I had
here's the thing.
comments from the homies from the hood, like, "Oh, Creisha, you preach," and
That's
I'm
what I
like,
was getting ready to say. Like me and Cree, we from the same spot, right? We both from Watts. And so
hmm
I was like, I'm looking at my cousins,
Mhm.
because I got cousins that go to her church that she shepherds over. So I'm like, oh, so they was just all like, this is amazing. It was like a dream for them because it's like we're the spiritual ones in the hood. So
right,
we're the ones that would go to all the funerals and all the pray for all the baby showers and do all that. We go to
right,
the party and lay hands and bless oil on the hood parties. So it was like it was monumental for
Look at
them
you.
because they're like, we're both in the same spot and we're preaching on the same day. It was, honey,
right.
we was lit.
I promise you. The comments, I was like to sit there and listen to the homie, like, man, cuz on everything, cuz you was talking
Right.
real talk, cuz. And I was like, man, I be trying. He was like, no, real, Cree, like, man, for real, you was talking real talk. He like, man, I almost cried. I was like, what? Like, so it's just the fact that, like how you saying,
Yeah.
just the support, the village that came around
Yes.
us and
Yes.
surround it kind of put me into the mind of how when the children walked around the walls of Jericho and how they had to march and how they had to march and it was like leading up to that big sound where we had to yell and the walls came down. It was like every night more people joined in the walk to just walk around. And that Sunday, that's what when we yelled and we praised God for the elevation, we prayed God for the release, we prayed God for the fact that the assignment was over. The
Yeah.
walls came down. Like LA will never be the same. I don't care who don't like it. I don't care who got something to
Right.
say about it. LA will never be the same because of that revival,
Yeah.
because of the spiritual things that took place, the births that took place
Yeah.
on during that week. Like that was, man, I don't care what nobody say. Like we did that. We did that, y'all.
And I think it's gonna be better the second time around, even though it's
Oh
been
Yes.
yeah.
if it hadn't been the pandemic, we would have been more than likely in revival this week.
We can do it
Right.
right
Yeah.
now. We can do it online.
We
We sure
can.
can.
We absolutely can.
Preachers be preaching every Sunday and
Listen,
Wednesday. We can
tearing the
That's
preach.
house,
true.
tearing
That's
the
true.
internet down.
That's true.
Shutting it
And that's
down,
the
honey.
thing with all of what's been going on, and of course, yes, we definitely probably would have had
Yeah.
something popping off, another revival, and of course, yes, we could definitely do something virtual. But that's what I'm gonna turn it over to T, so she can share about what we're gonna try to pull off and try to make some things happen by the end of this month or
God
going
bless
into the
you.
Going into the first week of November.
We're
Yeah,
going
You
into the
see,
first week of November.
it's a
So
setup because if you do it on wax in front of everybody,
we
there's
gotta
no
Okay,
say it.
going out.
let me
That's
just
the
say
thing.
this. I
listen,
need
Is
to
that
it's
what
been
is
my
say
that what
best
this
form
is
of,
right now?
I promise you, it's been my best form of accountability. I got through seminary because people knew I was in school. So it was like, I'm not messing up. So I done put it out there now. So I got to make
Y'all
it
ain't
happen. Just like
y'all
I'm
Oh
ain't
doing
worth
this
two
Lord.
master
dead flies
program.
smash. Ain't worth two dead flies
no, no,
smash.
no, 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 no,
You
no.
feel me?
So the people who commented in the message that I sent, I also said the first week in November I plan on. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't read to the end either. So I understand if you didn't,
No, I
but it
That
saw
was
was
it.
there.
shady.
It
That
was
was
there.
shady. That was
I didn't
No,
read to
because
the end.
sometimes I don't. So I,
now who ain't worth two dead flies rubbed together? How
Me.
if you read to the end, it does say something about a panel discussion, does it not?
It
Yes.
does.
Okay.
It does.
So this is what we're leading up to. Oh my, oh okay, my phone was on the charger. Sorry it fell over. So so what is leading up to is more than likely the first week of November. What I wanted to do was kind of for us to be in person, of course, safe as possible, social distancing. But I wanted us to be in person, just us, and we will be live. But what we'll do is like a panel discussion, and we will have questions from people about life, about ministry, about whatever they want to talk about. Whatever they want to talk about, and we're just going to go forth and answer those questions.
That's
I think that
dangerous.
discussions are very good, and that's okay because sometimes we got to live on the dangerous side,
We gotta
and that's
answer
all
those
right.
dangerous questions.
And we got to answer hard questions. But I do
Absolutely.
think that at a time that we're in now, that is just something that was just brewing in me, and I was like, I really want to do this. I really want to do this because I don't want to let the girls preach just be so stagnant. You know what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
this year alone has been, it's been a creative, but if you know that if you're a creative, and most of you guys are creative, very much more creative than I am, so you guys know sometimes it feel like you're going crazy when
Yes,
you're a
Mhm.
creative.
I
So
have
this is,
been.
yeah, so this is how this year was being like, am I going crazy? Just so much going through my mind. I have
There's
so
so
many
much
Mhm.
going on
ideas.
in the spirit. Like,
Yes, even with that, like God talking to you, like I sit down on the couch and all of a sudden God will be like, call this person or pray for this person or do this,
Mhm.
text that person, do this, apologize to this person, apologize to that person. I'm like, what?
ooh,
I'm
I
just driving
haven't
down the
even
street.
been doing
What
it. Woo.
happened? God has put me on an apology tour this year. I'm telling you.
Listen,
Apology tour.
It was an apology tour. I had to
Come
apologize to
on.
a lot of people and just being
listen.
honest. So I do really want to get people to give their thoughts, give their concerns, their questions that they may have for us as women, for us as ministers, for us as mothers, for us as educators, for us as wives, for us as fiancés, for us as pastors, for us as whatever we do, hairstylists, business women,
Entrepreneurs.
everything that we do. Yes. So that's just the idea of it.
It was just funny because she was looking at it. You said fiancés. Ting. Like,
That's right. Be glad,
You get
girl.
this
Be
every now and
happy.
again.
right.
See,
It's
even
just
as
wave it
single
by.
women, because there's this misconception. Every time somebody wants to say something bad about a woman, like me, they'll say, "See, that's why you single right now," as if that's something bad.
Why
And I
Child.
single
said,
being bad?
I don't
It's
know
a
why that
I
blessing.
don't
why
cook,
that's
I
that
don't clean,
narrative.
but yeah,
No, no, no,
I was
no.
single for 2 years
Put
before I
mute
got
yourself.
married.
And let me tell you something. The thing about it is that being single is not bad. That doesn't mean
Being
that you're
single is not
miserable.
a curse.
It's a
No,
lot
Trust
of
no,
it's
me.
it's
people.
not.
not.
It's a lot
It's
of people
not.
married and they miserable.
Well,
Why?
I
Why
know
would
a
I want
lot
to
of
Hello.
be married
people.
and
So on next
so?
week's show, come
Married
on,
and
stay focused.
miserable.
Stay focused. We're not gonna
So
do
let
this.
me. So let me be single and satisfied. Okay.
Okay. That
So
part.
and so there's just some things that we can talk about and we can kind of get into. And so that was something that I wanted to do with Let the Girls Preach. Definitely
Okay.
let it be stagnant. And then there's still the ideas that of what was to happen. They're still going to happen. It's not. It was just delayed. It wasn't, cut off. Like it can't be done. There was just a small delay, and that's okay because sometimes God has to give you that thing to just regroup, and that's
Yeah,
fine too. And so I said, okay, God, I hear you speaking, and He said it's not over.
Oh
you
Right.
know
glory.
it
ooh,
was just a
Oh
delay. So I
glory.
said,
Yes,
okay, God, I
God.
got you.
It's brewing.
So
It's
when
baking
somebody said let the girls preach too, I believe that
like a
we will be
baby.
back. I believe that let the girls preach will roll on. I believe that these revivals will happen with us. It sometimes it may not be all of us in the same night. Sometimes it may be. Sometimes it may be this time. Uh, it may be these four. Then the next time it may be the other four. However we do it, though, these women will be invited and always on the platform for me if they want to be to
This the
let the
crew
girls
for me.
preach.
This
What?
the crew for me. Nobody else. No, I'm sorry.
No new friends.
No
Well,
new
this
Right.
is the
friends.
thing. See,
I'm
I
no,
feel
I see. I can't do that because I'm just
No,
saying.
let's just be real. No new friends. We paid for this.
No, we did. We absolutely paid for
We
this.
paid
We
for
We
this.
did.
but
absolutely
this
paid
is
for
the
this.
thing. I feel like, it as we continue to mature, we got other young sisters that are coming under us and they're gonna need that
Yes.
platform. And
Yes.
so what I would like to this what
I'm
I
not.
would love to
Mute
see
yourself.
happen is us push someone else out there, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
be there to support and guide them through it. And so it's one of those, they still get that. Because, see, I'm going to tell you what I've seen, and then we can go on and wrap this up a little bit. What I've seen is that sometimes I've seen young preachers, male preachers, and I pray I don't get in trouble for this,
I got
but
your back.
I'm gonna pop you. Let's
this
go.
the thing.
Me too.
I've seen where some have been turned loose too soon.
Woo, child.
Mhm.
They've been
Mhm.
turned loose and allowed
I
to,
had to leave.
because they
With no
learned how to
character.
squall a little bit.
Yes.
They learned how to carry a tune a little bit. They learned the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, and learned how
Or
to talk
they got
about
the 3 points.
they got 3 points in the clothes and they know how to go to Calvary. So now, you want to have them to come speak at all your different services. And let me tell you something, you need the experience.
Yes.
It's one thing to talk about preaching, but when you get behind that sacred desk, it's a
Ooh.
whole different ball game. Okay. And I know some pastors that had floor mats, where preach and sit down. Okay. Or if you ain't gonna preach, don't stand up, all those
Hmm.
types of things. So, where I'm a little more old school in my train of thought, but I still would like to see, if we're gonna put sisters out there to preach, they're gonna know order. They're gonna
Yes.
Right.
know,
Right.
and they're not gonna be, watch this, they're not gonna be offended if they have to stand from the floor. And I'm gonna
Right.
tell you
Right.
why. There is a humbling in standing from the floor to
Yes.
preach.
I
Yes,
Okay.
it
agree.
is.
I
Okay.
agree.
Because I've been to some churches where I was not allowed to go in the
Yes.
pulpit,
How about
and I had to preach. Watch this, from an instrument stand, from a music
Right.
stand.
yes.
Yes.
Because they didn't even have a podium, and I think
My
my
Lord.
Bible was too heavy, to be honest. So my Bible had to sit on the piano,
Listen.
the grand piano, so that I could preach. And I'm in full robe, but I did what I was called to do, and
Come on.
I would lie if I say I wasn't angry. I was.
Yes.
I was angry because I felt like, oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna pull back. I felt like there in some situations that you could put me on the ticket with any of those good brothers, and I'm gonna hold my own. You understand?
Always.
Hold
And
it.
so my thing was, it's not a competition, but
Right.
you're not gonna degrade me either.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You understand? So I would love to see sisters have the opportunity to stand up, to be in position, but to be in position and to be orderly, not to be cocky, not to be
Yes.
rude, but good training ground.
And see,
And
for me, I always, not to cut you off, sis.
you good.
I always ask people when they come to me and say, I believe the Lord, called me into ministry. And y'all know me, I'm just ignorant. I tell people all the time, they be like, "Oh yeah, I'm called." Who checked your calling?
Hmm.
Mm,
Hmm.
Because everybody can be in a band, but the band don't move until the person in front of the band says to move.
yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you can very well be called, but who told you to go?
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I taught Sunday school. I was, sat there and listened to my grandmother and my grandfather and people in ministry preach, and I preached to themselves. And I'm like, no, Granny, that's not the right one. You this, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were taught. And not only that, we had preachers around us. Like, Elton and Frank and Spreewell, all before they became pastors and all this, they
Yeah.
were youth pastors. So we all would get together and we will preach to each other. We will quote scripture. We will have
And
discussions and things
support
like
each
this.
other. Yeah.
And,
Iron
and,
sharpening
and so
iron.
it's like, I really believe that if we sit around and we have these round tables, and if we have these discussions, and we pull the sisters in and we begin to mentor them, then they have no choice but to know order, because we'll keep, not saying we'll keep them in order, but the God in us will keep them in
Yeah.
order. You understand what I'm saying? But the problem is, a lot of them don't want to serve. Like you said, they just want to just go. But it's just like, no, baby, you gotta be taught. This ain't
Yeah.
no, this ain't nothing that you can just pick up and say, I'm finna just
Not,
go and preach.
not only that, Creature, you called, but are you chosen?
Hello.
That's the Bible
That's what
now.
I saw the scripture say. Men are
That's
called,
the
but few are
Bible.
chosen. So
You are chosen.
I don't.
Come on.
I just
I'm
want to
gonna
know.
I'm gonna say this. What I would love to see, and I've gone through seminary, and I do want to go a little bit
Yes.
further. But I'm gonna say this to all of you. I would love to see all of you elevate, and because the one thing I say seminary did for me, honestly, see, you can have revelation from God, but
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
happens when revelation meets education?
That
Mm-hmm.
part.
Yes.
God.
You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What happens
Yes.
when those two intersect? When those two intersect, you really begin to understand the word of God. And the thing is, I'm not saying that they, like they're going to tell you something that God can't tell you. People get into all of these crazy debates about seminary, and if God called you, he gonna prepare you. Yeah, but I got common sense too. And my
Yeah.
thing was, I wanted to be a good student of the gospel. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
I wanted
Yes.
to. I what seminary does is provides you with the tools so that
Yes.
when you get ready to sit down to prepare your sermon, you can read a commentary. You can pick up Moody's handbook. You know what things to
Matthew
pick up.
Henry and all of
You know
them.
what I'm saying? You know how to
Yeah.
decipher and move through it. Watch this, and you learn how. You find that there are some tools out there that you didn't know about.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so once you and then with you writing papers, I promise you, all seminary did was give me a plethora of sermons.
I was getting ready to say one thing for sure. You'll walk out with a notebook full of stuff, and
Yeah.
you're better organized at that. But let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
a tip hit. What I recognize is because shout out to Pastor S.L. Garvey of the First Christian Church of Compton.
Hmm.
He put me up on game because he paid for me to go to school.
Hmm.
I graduated from Hope International in Fullerton, and that was where all the clear
Awesome.
people are. So where
Yeah.
the clear people are, they do things way differently, and
Hmm.
it struck me in a way to where me being a teacher already is just putting in light to be a little bit more versatile in what you
Yeah.
Yes.
do. So a lot of
Absolutely.
times when God has put us in a position to get those things, we are now put in that position to give those things back, because
Yes.
Absolutely.
it's not going to be like you said, friend. The people that we know old school, they're gonna be on what God called you, and that's it. Yeah, no,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. We got to
Mm-hmm.
learn some structure. We got to
Mm-hmm.
get
Yeah.
some
Order.
understanding. We have to learn how to exegete.
Etiquette. You got to
We
learn
have
Yes.
to learn.
etiquette.
We have
Listen.
to learn how to exegete, not just get up here and
Yes.
prophesy and call out everything and scream and shout, but we actually have to have some substance. We
Yes.
got to learn that we can't get it all out. So we can't sit up here and talk to people for 60 minutes.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Come on. And then, because
Hmm.
here's the thing, everybody can write a book, but if everybody can't read, then what you wrote,
Right.
it ain't gonna get heard. So it's important that just because you're called to do something, you have to be very clear on what it is that you're called to do. Because God forbid you get up in a position where you're doing something that you're not, and then you get
Yes.
discouraged and want to get and start having inner
And then
inner
blame God.
inner battles and blame God and get mad at the people because nobody want to hear you, nobody want to follow you, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody want to listen to you. Well, that's because you're
Wow.
preaching the wrong message and you're in the wrong position.
My God.
The
Oh
Bible says,
Lord.
"Be all things to all people."
To all people. In
Okay.
order to gain the poor, I gotta become poor. In order to gain the rich, I
Exactly.
have to become the rich.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's like
You
we have
have
to,
to. You
and
have to position
it
yourself.
goes back to how I said God strategically put all of us together because we all are the same but different in our own right. And so
Right.
Yeah.
we bring it's like a good Subway sandwich. You
Right.
got the bread, you got all the veggies, and no matter what, if somebody doesn't like tomatoes, when they get this sandwich, they're gonna take everything that's on the sandwich because there's no
Right.
Listen,
denying that everything is perfectly put together. So
right.
my
Absolutely.
original thing was, I said, no new friends. We can't add on to this sandwich because it is what it is. Okay,
Did
it's
you
There you
really?
already
go.
Did
ordered.
you really just try to
Don't do
argue
that.
your
She
point
tried
with?
to
It's
round.
in the
She
cart.
brought her right back around.
She.
Look,
It's in the cart.
I will say this, guys. I would say that in order to be a great leader, you have to first master following.
Following. Yes.
Yes, Lord.
Amen.
And
Man,
Absolutely.
every
Servitude.
every great teacher was once a great
Great
student.
student.
So we should always be willing to learn. We should always be willing to listen. Um, that's why God gave us 2 ears and not 2 mouths, because one mouth, because we should listen more than we speak.
come on, close
Yeah.
Uh,
it out.
um,
Come on.
I just feel that if we do a lot more listening and be willing to be taught, then it would show how well you can lead. Those that can't be taught, you can't lead me nowhere. You don't understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So I agree. School education is something that, especially now, because it's so accessible. I really believe that having, like you said, the wisdom, the tools to go with it, because wisdom is just knowledge is wisdom. What wisdom is knowledge
Knowledge
applied.
applied.
So
Hmm.
if you don't have the know-how, then you can't effectively go forth. You understand what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
agree, friend. I agree. Education and with the ministry
It's
and
vital.
with the divine um instruction from God, I promise you, you can't do nothing but go further with that. You know. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was just my thing. You would really be surprised. It's like when you love the word of God and you
oh,
love
like
preaching,
me,
you know what I'm saying? And you get in these classes and these teachers get to going,
you be like,
and it's
yes,
like
go,
you
go.
yes, you I mean it's like you don't want nobody talking to you. Let me
Right.
tell you something. It took a minute for me to get folks to realize don't dial my number on Mondays and Tuesdays. I am
Yeah.
in
Right.
class.
We was
I'm
a
on
few
my
of those people.
Right. That's why I was like,
listen.
2%.
And but the thing was, it was because I made up my mind. I have to show that this is important to me.
Yeah.
And I want God to know. I stepped back from acting. I wasn't doing anything because I needed to finish that. I was finishing 2 degrees at the same time, so it was like I have to show that I'm committed to this. Parties would come up. Oh, you're not coming to the party? Listen, I'm trying not to disappoint nobody, but look, y'all not gonna make me feel
Right.
bad for
I
putting myself first.
right.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Right. That's
So
right.
it's like it's needed. We have to make these decisions because this is what we do. We preach, okay, and we want to be sound in what we do. And so I thank God that He put us all together and allowed us the opportunity. She's back. There she is.
Absolutely.
You had to go
No.
check that Lakers score, huh?
You know what? You know when you tell somebody you're doing something, you get phone calls and texts. I'm like, really? Like,
Oh
come on,
yeah,
keep
I'm over
up.
here
Mine was ringing too.
multitasking,
I'm like,
trying to get food. I'm like, yeah, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, some of us do this
Oh,
from our
oh,
phone, not the laptop. I ain't
okay.
that advanced yet. I'm sorry, y'all.
right.
You
I
got
didn't
this.
have
Right.
time. I didn't want to be late, so I didn't have time to set up the light. It was easier from the phone just to get the
You
Right.
good to go. You good to go. But listen, I
Well, I
want to
got
say
time.
thank you. I,
No, thank you
I
again.
Thank
want to say
you.
thank you to all of you for joining in this conversation. It was like we can't let this anniversary go by
Dude.
I
and we not
know.
celebrate or have something to say about it. And shout out to Brienne Broussard. Shout out
Yes.
to
Yes.
Yes.
Taylor. I mean
To
Taylor.
Danny
There I
B.
go again to Shantae. Sorry, my love. Shout out to Shantae Taylor and shout out to Vanity Brown.
Yes.
We missed
Hey.
having the three of you with us tonight. And please know, just because we didn't get a chance to talk about their aspects, it's like can't nobody talk about your story and talk about your night the way you
Like
can
you can.
Right.
because you were in it. And so, but just know that we love and appreciate you. And I want to say to my villages, some folks on here that they have hung out this whole hour and 33
Thank
minutes.
Thank you,
Listen.
We love you.
guys.
The comments
you.
have definitely kept us rolling. However, we did have a question in here, and it was actually for Elder Johnson and for Elder Dixon. The question was the revival recorded on DVDs, and can it still be purchased? And so I'm gonna pose that question to the two members of the Three Oaks Missionary Baptist Church.
Something just happened to my camera.
No,
We
oh, we
still
see
see
you
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 though.
though,
right
Oh,
there.
okay.
so keep
Oh,
smiling. We almost done. There you go.
okay. So no, no DVDs were recorded, but everything is still on Facebook Live. The videos on Facebook Live though are really amazing. So I know for my page, they've been on there. If anybody, what I will do is I will go back and share each night on each person's page. So if you guys are on here, you follow anybody on that page, their night will go on their page tonight. I'll just go put their the night that they ministered. I'll put it
Right.
on their page tonight. So
Oh,
anybody who wants to
thank
revisit
you.
any message like I have been doing and been in tears and stuff, then you guys can do that. So I'll make sure it goes on everybody's pages the nights that they preach. So you
Thank
can view it on their
you.
page on Facebook.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much. We made it to the end.
Thank
I
you,
want to give
Fran.
a
And I'm
couple of
so
shout
proud of
outs.
you, Fran, and all your
Thank
endeavors and
you.
all that you're
Love
doing.
you.
Yes. And
Yes.
I
congratulations
Thank
on
appreciate
you
the
for
it.
this.
masters.
Yes,
Thank you. I'm working
congratulations.
Yes,
on it. I'm
please.
working on it. I
Preliminary
gotta
Congratulations.
give
on
a
that.
couple of shout outs before I get out of here. I want to give a shout out to Rodney Howard, who did my intro music for me. And so I'm gonna be recording the vocals to go on top of that. So I'll have my own little kind of
All
open
right.
it or whatever. So I want to say thank you to him for that. I also want to give a shout out to Markel Coleman, CEO of BPC Productions, for providing my green screen so I could have my face behind me. Hallelujah.
Conversation.
Want to give a shout out. Who else? Who else? Who else do I
Marcus
need to
Beard.
shout out? Marcus Beard. Good grief, Marcus Beard for allowing me to use this beautiful platform and helping me with the StreamYard so I could get acclimated to it, and I love it.
Yes.
That's my cousin, and he definitely came through for me. I just appreciate the people that believe in me. And then I also want to give a shout out to my cousin Stanley Von Potts Jr., who created my background, who did my design for me. And so I just thank
Oh.
God I'm surrounded by gifted people, and I should have done this the first time. I should have just went on and learned how to use the programs. And I thank you all for bearing with me. I hope it wasn't too many glitches in the system because this is literally the first time I have run my own Facebook, streaming to Facebook and to
You
YouTube.
did good.
And
You
You
did
did
great.
good. You
I
did
just
great.
appreciate it. So, and I can honestly say I was not really as nervous as I would be when I was going into the other studio. But shout out to We Are LA, 'cause no love lost. It's all love here.
Yes, it
But
Right.
I love
is.
my growth, and I'm appreciative of my
And
Amen.
on
growth.
Thursday nights too, you know, your girl be on We Are LA on Talk That Talk. So if you guys
Absolutely,
like, subscribe, and
absolutely,
share, you know, go do that. Shameless plug, sorry.
absolutely,
I try to catch
absolutely.
y'all
But I'm a
when I
part of but
can.
I'm a part of Fran Village because I've been rocking with conversations with Fran from the beginning. So I'm part of the village.
Okay.
Right.
Part
It's
of this
just,
village.
we everybody and this is the thing. It's an open door,
Hmm.
It's an open door, and that was the good thing about We Are LA. It was an open door, and I'm glad that I got two sisters that are going through it as well. So and wherever you no, Creature, shut up. Just don't. Just
Just go on and go, preacher.
just don't. I no, I can't right now. But I just want to say thank you, and I'm appreciative to you all. And so we're not going to be strangers. We'll be back because we're going to have to talk about the roundtable discussion or the panel discussion. That'll be coming up soon.
In
And so
November.
to my village, stay tuned and thank you for joining us tonight. Good evening, ladies. Have a beautiful evening.
Bye, y'all. Love
Goodbye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.
guys. Thank you, everybody,
Bye.
for rocking with us. I love y'all.
Yes.
Love you too.